Dear children, welcome to this channel. In this video, we are going to see the nature of roots of a polynomial equation and how the roots occur. To discuss the nature of roots of a polynomial equation, first let us see what would be the nature of roots of a quadratic equation, okay, and how the roots occur for a quadratic equation first and then for the polynomial equations, okay. You know that for the quadratic equation ax squared plus bx plus c is equal to 0, the roots is obtained by the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac by 2a. If they are not be able to factorize, means we will use this formula to get the roots of the quadratic equation, okay. Here in this b squared minus 4ac is called a discriminant and it is denoted by the symbol delta. So, according to the value of delta, we will discuss about the nature of the roots, okay. So, if this delta value, that is b squared minus 4ac is equal to 0, the roots of the equation will be real and equal. So, they are equal, they will be equal roots. And if this discriminant value is greater than 0, that is a positive quantity, then the roots are real and distinct. They are not equal, they will be different, that is distinct, but they are real roots, okay. And if delta is less than 0, that is if the discriminant value is negative, then the roots are imaginary, that is unreal. So, this is these facts already you have known that. Let me tell it once again, okay. So, you know that the delta greater than 0 means the roots are real and distinct. Now, we are going to see what would be the nature of the real root, that is whether they may be rational or irrational, okay. So, we are going to see when delta is greater than 0, the roots are real and distinct, and when it would be rational or irrational, okay. Now, we are going to discuss about the rational roots and irrational roots of a quadratic equation first. So, that is for delta, which is a positive quantity, it will be real and distinct, and then in that case it may be rational or irrational. So, there arise two cases, they may be rational or irrational. So, when do you have rational roots and when do you have irrational root means, look at this factor delta, it is inside the square root. So, if this discriminant value, that is b squared minus 4ac is a perfect square, then while a perfect square means then you will have this root of b squared minus 4ac will become an integer. So, that minus b plus or minus that value divided by 2a will be either an integer or a fractional value, and hence we can call it as a rational, because integers are also a subset of a rational set of rationals. So, generally we can take the bigger set. So, either it will be an integer or a fraction, we can decide that, we can say that it will be a rational quantity. So, when the roots will be rational, if this b squared minus 4ac is a perfect square, okay. So, for the roots to be real and rational, delta must be a perfect square, okay. So, in other case, that is in case if it is not a perfect square, then what you will have? You will have an irrational quantity. So, in such case you will have irrational roots, right. So, you have irrational roots if this b squared minus 4ac, that is discriminant value, is not a perfect square. So, for the roots to be irrational, then delta is not a perfect square, okay. So, when the quadratic equation will have rational roots, when delta value is positive and moreover it is a perfect square, and when it has irrational root means when delta value is positive and it is not a perfect square, we will have irrational roots, okay. Now, let us see this by an example. Now, consider the quadratic equation x squared plus 4x minus 165 equal to 0. Even though it may be factorized, in order to check the discriminant value, I have used the formula, okay. So, x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4 into a into c, that is 4 into 1 into 165, that is 660, and divided by 2a, which is 2. Then adding these two we have 676, and then you know that square root of 676 is nothing but 26. So, you have two roots, minus 4 plus 26 by 2 and minus 4 minus 26 by 2. So, minus 4 plus 26 is 22 by 2, and here minus 4 minus 26 by 2 is minus 30 by 2. So, 11 and minus 15, okay. The roots are real, rational and distinct. Okay, so look at this, that quantity 676 is a perfect square. So that's why we have a rational roots. Look at this second equation, x squared plus 3x minus 7 is equal to 0. So on finding the roots of this equation, we use the formula x is equal to minus b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac by 2a. We'll have x is equal to minus 3 plus or minus root of 9. Then minus 4 into 1 into minus 7 will be plus 28 divided by 2. But 28 plus 9 is root 37. So 37 is not a perfect square. So root 37 will be an irrational number. So you have the two roots as minus 3 by 2 plus root 37 by 2 and minus 3 by 2 minus root 37 by 2, and both roots are irrational because this is an irrational quantity. So look at this b squared minus 4ac value is not a perfect square. So if the discriminant value is perfect square, we will have rational roots, and if it is not a perfect square, we will have irrational roots. Okay, this is the condition to get for a quadratic equation to have a rational as well as irrational roots. See, moreover, we have one theorem. Before that theorem, let us recall the surd, the meaning, the word for surd. Okay, so you know that any number of the form p plus root q is called as a surd, where p and q are rational number and root q is irrational number. Okay, so the number of this form is called as a surd. And moreover, if p plus r into root q is rational means, then this r must be 0. Because if it is rational means this root q this does not exist, this irrational quantity does not exist. But that means that this r must be 0, then only it will become rational. So remember the 2 points to learn the next theorem. Okay. So what does this theorem says that for a quadratic equation, if p plus root q, that is an irrational, p plus root q is a root means, then the other root should be its conjugate, that is p minus root q. This is the theorem. So what does the theorem says that if p and q are two rational numbers such that root p and root q is irrational, root q is irrational, right? P and q are rational and root q is irrational. And then if p plus root q is a root of a quadratic equation with the rational coefficients, then p minus root q is also a root of the same equation. So remember, I have underlined the word rational coefficients. That means that the quadratic equation should have the coefficients as rational number, not an irrational numbers. Okay, so it should have rational coefficients. Then for that quadratic equation, if p plus root q is a root means, then p minus root q is also the another root. Okay, let us see this theorem. Let us see the proof of this theorem. So given that p and q be rational numbers and root q is irrational, right? And then p plus root q is a root of the quadratic equation. Here, for convenience, let us take a monic polynomial, monic quadratic equation instead of a general quadratic equation. So I have taken the monic equation such that the coefficient of x squared is 1 and it is a coefficient of x is b and the constant term is 0. Okay. Let alpha be the other root. You have to show that the alpha is nothing but p minus root q. That is the theorem, that is the result we have to prove. So given the two roots, what would be the sum of the root? Sum of the roots alpha plus p plus root q will be equal to minus b. Okay. And then product of the roots, that is alpha into p plus root q is equal to c. So let it be first equation and the second equation. Okay. Now from the first equation, alpha plus p plus root q is equal to minus b means alpha plus root q is equal to minus b minus p. But both p are all rational numbers because we have taken the quadratic equation with rational coefficients. So b is also a rational number, p is also a rational number according to our assumption. So minus b minus p is a rational number. So let us take to be some s. Okay. So let us take this minus b minus to be some s, where this s is a rational number. Okay. So as b comma b belongs to q, s is also belongs to q. Q is nothing but the notation of the set of all rational numbers, right? So alpha is equal to this s minus root q. Okay, s minus root q. Now from the second equation, product of the roots, that is alpha into p plus root q is equal to c. Let us substitute alpha as s minus root q. So s minus root q into p plus root q is equal to c. So on multiplying these two terms, s into p, then minus root q into root q is minus q, so minus q, plus s into root q minus p into root q. So taking root q common, we have s minus p is equal to c. Okay. Now what is the c? C is a constant term of the equation and this is rational. So remember this. Look at this. If p plus rq is rational means then r should be 0 because otherwise it will become irrational. But it has been given rational means this term should be 0. That means that r must be 0. So apply here, apply the same concept here. Sp minus q plus s minus p into root q is equal to c, but c is a rational quantity. That means that this s minus p must be 0. Okay, otherwise it will become irrational, but it has given that c and c is rational means this should be 0. So c belongs to q. This implies that s minus p is equal to 0, which in turn implies s is equal to p. Right, now replace s as p in alpha. So what is alpha? Alpha is equal to s minus root q. So replacing s by p, we have alpha as p minus root q. So this shows that if p plus root q is one root, then p minus root q is also another root of a quadratic equation. That is, for a quadratic equation, if one root is irrational means in terms, the other root also irrational. That means they occur in pair. Irrational root occur in pair for a quadratic equation. But I have to tell one thing, but the statement of the above theorem is just somewhat complicated, but that means for a quadratic equation the irrational roots can occur in pair, but for a polynomial equation with rational coefficients, that is degree greater than 2, we cannot say that the irrational roots occur in pairs. So in some cases they may occur in pair, or in some cases one root may be irrational. Okay, the other roots may be some complex or real. So this theorem does not hold good for the polynomial equation with a higher degree. Okay, this will be true for a quadratic equation, right? And also a polynomial equation with a minimum degree with the rational coefficients having irrational root means surely it will be a quadratic equation. Okay, so only the quadratic equation will have irrational roots in pairs, and therefore when you are asked to find out a polynomial equation with minimum degree means that minimum degree must be 2. That means that equation must be a quadratic equation. So why I have given that minimum degree is 2, you may ask that why it is not a linear equation, because linear equation has the least degree 1. So why can't we say that the equation with the minimum degree with rational coefficients having irrational roots may be a linear equation? You may raise this question. For that we can consider this equation. X minus 2 plus root 3 is equal to 0. This is a linear equation. Okay. So what would be its equation? X is equal to 2 plus root 3. So that is 2 plus root 3 is the root for this equation. X minus 2 plus root 3 equal to 0. This is a linear which is a minimum degree, that is 1, and its root is 2 plus root 3 which is irrational, then okay. But look at the coefficient. Here coefficient of x is 1, but the constant term is 2 plus root 3. This is not rational. This is irrational. But what is our condition? The polynomial equation with rational coefficients. So that's why I underline the word rational coefficients. Here the coefficient, that is the constant, is not rational. Therefore that's why we have to take that equation with the minimum degree having irrational root with rational coefficient means it should be a quadratic equation. That is, the minimum degree must be 2. There is also one more theorem regarding the irrational roots. Okay. What does the theorem says? That let p and q be rational numbers so that this root p and root q are irrational. Okay, and if root p plus root q is the root of a polynomial equation with rational coefficients, okay, then root p minus root q minus root p plus root q minus root p minus root q are also the roots of the same equation. So if simply p plus root q means only p minus root q is another root. If both root p and root q are irrational and root p plus root q is one root means root p minus root q minus root p plus root q minus root p minus root q. That means all possible with all possible roots with all signs. Both the plus and here both minus. Root p is minus and here root q is minus. So all the four terms will be the roots of the same equation. This is the theorem, and this theorem has no proof at all. So simply just to know the statement of the theorem. And one more theorem regarding the complex roots. So far we have seen how the irrational roots occur for a quadratic equation as well as for a polynomial equation. Irrational roots occur in pair for a quadratic equation, and it may not be true for a polynomial equation with higher degree. Okay, and then now let us see what would be the complex roots, how the complex roots occur for a quadratic as well as for a polynomial equation, right? And here this theorem says that if a complex number, if a complex number is a root of a polynomial equation, then its conjugate is also a root. That means it is true for a polynomial equation, not only for quadratic, but it is also true for a polynomial equation of higher degree. Okay. So, but irrational it does not occur, but for complex number they occur in conjugate pairs, even for a polynomial equation of degree higher than 2, right. So, what does the theorem says that, and what is the name of the theorem? Complex conjugate root theorem. Okay. So, the statement of the theorem is like this: if a complex number z0 is a root of a polynomial equation with real coefficients, then its a complex conjugate z0 bar is also a root. Okay. So, why they have given real coefficient means because we are going to speak about the last set complex number, and therefore we have taken the coefficients to be real. They may be either rational or irrational. So, generally we can call it as real, right. Now, let us see the proof. Okay. So, consider a polynomial equation of degree n, that is p of x is equal to a n x 4 n plus a n minus 1 x 4 n minus 1 plus a 1 x plus a 0. If it is equal to 0, that would be a polynomial equation. So, let us take this to be a polynomial equation whose coefficients are real. Okay. Now, let us take z0, the complex number, be a root for it. So, as it is a root, it should satisfy the equation. Therefore, p of z0, that is a n z0 the whole power n plus a n minus 1 z0 to the power n minus 1 plus etc. a n z0 plus a 0 is equal to 0, right. Now, in order to show z0 bar is also a root, let us find out p of z0 bar. You have to show that p of z0 bar is equal to 0 in order to show z0 bar is also a root. Okay. So, let us find out what is p of z0 bar. So, p of z0 bar means a n z0 bar the whole power n plus a n minus 1 z0 bar the whole power n minus 1 plus etc. a1 z0 bar plus a0. Okay. Now, here you are going to use the properties of the conjugate of a complex number. Z power n the whole bar is also is equal to z bar the whole power n. You know this property. So, let us apply here. So, this will be z0 n the whole bar, and here this will be z0 n minus 1 the whole bar. Okay. So, like here it would be no problem, that is a1 z0 bar plus a0, and then as an minus 1 are all real numbers, and moreover for real number the conjugate and itself will be equal because the real imaginary part is 0. So, AR and AR bar will be equal for all real AR, and therefore even instead of an we can write it as an bar, and here this will be written as an minus 1 the whole bar, and here it is a1 bar etc. and also a0 bar. Okay. Then since z1 z2 whole conjugate, then whole bar will be equal to z1 bar into z2 bar, and that one can be written as an z0 the whole power n the whole bar, an minus 1 z0 n minus 1 the whole bar etc. plus a1 z0 the whole bar plus a0 the whole bar. Okay. And then again we have z1 plus z1 bar plus z2 bar plus etc. zn bar equal to z1 plus z2 plus z2 etc. zn the whole bar. That is the property of again a conjugate of complex number. So, using that property we have an z0 the whole power n plus an minus 1 z0 the whole power n minus 1 plus etc. a0 the whole bar. This will be equal to this one. Okay. This is nothing but p of z0. So, p of z0 the whole bar, and then p of z0 is 0 according to our assumption because z0 is a root. So, 0 bar. 0 means complex number, again 0 complex number conjugate means it is also 0. So, 0. So, we have proved that p of z0 bar is equal to 0. So, this implies that z0 bar is also a root of the equation p of x is equal to 0. Okay. So, we have taken z0 is a root, and we have proved that its a conjugate z0 bar is also a root, and therefore complex roots occur in pair. So, this is the proof of the theorem. And then look at this. you know that alpha plus I beta is called as an imaginary number, complex number. Also, we can define this as when beta is not equal to 0, we can give a special name to this complex number as non-real complex number. Okay. So, why the word is non-real means if beta is 0, it will be purely real. It is, or we can also say that any real number can be expressed as a complex number by taking the imaginary part as 0. Okay, right? So, if it is in the form alpha plus I beta where beta not equal to 0, that is the imaginary part exists, then such complex numbers can take a special name non-real complex number, because any real number can also be expressed as a complex number with imaginary part 0. That's why we have taken the complex number with the imaginary part exists is called a non-real complex number. Okay. So, for the polynomial equation with real coefficients, such a non-real complex number occur in conjugate pairs. Okay. So, for this here alpha plus I beta for the above theorem, complex roots occur in pair means the imaginary part should exist. In that case only we have the conjugate is also a root. Okay. And then if the degree of the polynomial equation is odd, then it has odd number of real roots, and if it is even, it has even number of real roots. So, how to explain the statement means, when for example, if the degree of the equation is 5, then how many roots it should have? It should have 5 roots. And then if it has a complex root means the complex roots occur in pair. So, they may be either 2 roots, 2 complex roots or 4 complex roots. So, the remaining one must be a real root. Okay. So, what would be the number of real root? It is 1. So, so that it can say, can say that if the degree of the polynomial equation is odd, it may have odd number of real roots, or in case it is even, say number 6. So, a polynomial equation of degree 6 and it has 6 roots, it must have 6 roots. In case if it has a complex roots means it occur in pair. So, the complex roots may be either 2 or 4 or 6. In all other cases, the remaining roots are real roots and they are also even number, and hence we can say that if the degree of a polynomial equation is even, it has even number of real roots. See, as a whole, what is the summary of this video? Only you have to remember 5 points. Okay. So, what is the point? First point means a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation has rational roots. Sorry, a quadratic equation have rational roots if this delta is a perfect square. Okay, this is the first point you have to remember. And then what is the second point to remember? A quadratic equation have irrational roots if delta is not a perfect square. And then for a quadratic equation, irrational roots occur in pairs. That is, if p plus root q is a root, then p minus root q is also a root. But this may not be true for a polynomial equation of higher degree. Okay. They may exist in pair or may not exist in pair, right? And then complex roots occur in conjugate pairs for all polynomial equations. That means including quadratic, right? For all polynomial equations. So, these are the things you have to remember. And the last point is if root p plus root q is a root of a polynomial equation, then root p minus root q minus root p plus root q minus root p minus root q are also roots of the same equation. And then the equation with rational coefficients having irrational roots with minimum degree is a quadratic equation. So minimum degree means you have to consider the degree to be 2. So these are 7 points you have to remember. Dear children, in the video Theory of Equations part number 5, I have explained 4th sum, 5th sum and 6th sum and 7th sum. While explaining the 4th one, the answer, while writing the answer, the 3 roots of the given equation are 3, 1 by 3 and 2, but I have written 1 in that video. So please change it as 2. Okay. So the 3 roots of the given equation are 3, 1 by 3 and 2. And also in the 6th sum, while writing the third equation, I left the 6 here. So it will be 6, that is minus 4 by k squared. Okay. So note down this change.